So remember that they're changing my voice. I want you to write down this phrase: uniform and uniformity. What do fraternities, okay, white, Jewish, and LGBT fraternities, especially where they're merged together, the military, boarding schools, Greek frats and Greek societies, not just, Masonic secret societies and fraternities like that, Skull and Bones, Brazilian Society, Scroll and Key, the various Yale secret societies. What do these things have in common? What do they have in common with the Ku Klux Klan? William Joseph Simmons was a member of over a dozen fraternities. How could you argue that there's not commonalities? What do they have in common with citizen oversight committees, city councils, government officials, corporate groups? What is the uniformity there? When the white community and the Jewish community go into rock and roll and grow their hair long or whatever they do, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and they use satanic imagery and show rebellion not only against the evil power structure, but also against morality, also against the things that Martin Luther King stood for. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they're white and he was black. Now, obviously, there's many white cultures. There's many Jewish cultures. There's many LGBT cultures. But the problem is every single last one failed the test that I put them up to over 12 years, over a decade, over 12 years. They were put to the test. Will you stand for what is right before your mere cultures of this world, mere human rules, customs, and traditions? They all failed. And when it came to the most important time in history, the most righteous person that ever lived, when it comes to their family spirits, their nation spirits, their military spirits, their religious spirits, their martial arts spirits, when it comes to showing their heart, the Lord weighs the heart. The Lord weighs the motives. As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart, is what their Bible says. And there's over 2.5 billion people on this planet right now who claim to be Christians. Over 1 billion of them people who claim to be Muslims. And lots of Jews as well. In America, there's over 380,000 Christian Christian churches, and 20,000 denominations. And in this country, it's called, they historically refer to it as a Judeo-Christian culture. That's how much white cultures and races that took on white cultures have uniformity. They said that uniformity with that Judeo-Christian culture, that the guy in the police uniform and the guy in the rock and roll clothes have in common. They have so much in common. They have shared cultural values. They have core cultural values that are shared, which have to do with rebellion against moral precision. There isn't a city in America, great or small, where if I went there and looked at the people, they wouldn't be communicating to me by their cultural values, their cultural barriers, their demeanor, their behavior, their composure, their posture, their body language, their manner of speech, their spirit, their essence, the ethos of the town, the mores of the town, the political climate, the social climate, the cultural climate. There isn't a single city in this country or on this planet after colonialism that wouldn't communicate non-receptivity to moral precision. If you were holding a sign that said, if you are morally precise, fuck off, I'm a bitch. And then I said to you, hey, you're communicating that you don't want me around. He said, well, I didn't say that. Well, you're holding a sign, genius. You bothered to get a sign and to hold it and say, hey, guys, I'm holding this sign. You bothered to get a sign and hold it. You bothered to be parts of those cultures, to wear their clothes, to think like them, to speak like them, to have your body language and your energy and your spirit like them. Now, who among you would then argue that these people haven't represented for themselves and their offspring after they've been doing that for generations? Just because you jump from one culture to another doesn't make it okay. Some people were Masons, and they joined the Klan, then they left the Klan and became Masons again. Well, they're Masons the whole time. Why was it compatible in the first place? Uniform and uniformity. There isn't a person When I was in 4th grade, there wasn't a person in the class that wouldn't understand why I'm right here. They would say, yes, you're right. They would say, we call that being white. We call that being a white Jew. We call that being an LGBT person. They would understand, or whatever they would call it back then, being gay, being lesbian. Okay? They would know immediately that I'm right. But you people provoke me and try to cry hate speech? He's not supposed to say that, no. We can all get together and cheat him and abuse him all day long, hundreds of people every day. We can do it subtly, especially, and try to send him to the psych ward, with 22 witnesses on record, and no one cares, and not a single white, Jewish, or LGBT person, though their cultures and their groups are the main people doing it, would rally and obey God through me. Not a single one. Their spirits have clear representation. When you see the people in the government, you say they're representing you, and you're waving their flags, those of you who kiss the government's ass. They're representing you as one person, 2 people, 5 people, 100 people. These are tens of thousands, over 100,000 people targeting me from all of your cultures. You have clear-cut representation. The white, Jew, and LGBT communities, and the token minorities helping them, and their desperate hood muscle. You have clear-cut representation. I don't start with these groups because I'm racist. I'm not racist. I'm part white. I start with these groups because it's justice. If you give someone a ticket for jaywalking and 25 to life for murder, you've testified against yourself that we must judge people according to you. You agreed with God that you must judge people to some degree. You agree with God that according to their crimes, the severity of their crimes, their degree of complicity. If someone's complicit with murder versus someone's complicit with stealing candy from a store, you judge them differently. If someone is a calculated first-degree murder versus third-degree. As we look at this, we know we must judge people as individuals based on their group as well. So if you're an individual in one of those cultures, white, Jewish, or LGBT culture, any of them, you must be chastised first, and the judgments when people are damned from heaven must go to you first. I'm not racist. If you think it is and you have a viable counter-argument, present it in the comments. And I know many people are listening right now, okay? They're watching me. There's people in the comments. I have different YouTube channels, okay? They know my argument. If you think that I'm wrong, comment it in the comments, or you agree. If you think it's hate speech, put it in the comments. But don't act like some sniveling, government snitch, snitching on the most righteous guy that ever lived. That's fucking pathetic. And I'd rather die than be the child of someone like that.